Hello.
Hello.
I'm doing my stand-up desk, so I need to adjust my little camera. Okay, there we go. How's it going?
It's going well. How about you?
It's good for me too. It's really super cold, so I'm wearing my nice, thick, fluffy sweater today.
Yeah, where are you at?
I'm in Minnesota, so it's
That's
like
right. Okay, I think you
negative
told me that.
5 degrees today.
Yes. Much colder than it is here. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's in the 20s, but it's still it's cold.
Yeah, that's still below freezing. Like
Yeah.
it's like 30 supposed to be, not to
Yeah.
talk about weather. Like that's such a fun topic to start the conversation, but yeah,
Well,
it's go
yeah.
ahead.
I'm like, it's cold. That's always a factor.
Yeah, it's just I might have to like play with my little foot heater here because like my feet might be like toasty, but like my arm might be. So that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
it's one of the things that I bring up. And like I just noticed my background is so fun. Like I don't always
It
have
is.
this. It's like I launched my academy this week, so I have like all these fun things going on. So that's why I'm not always this crazy.
It's okay. It's fun. And I've got my virtual background behind me.
I love that. It's
Thanks.
I miss the co-working space. Like that reminds me of like when I used to go downtown in the WeWork, and that looks
Yeah.
just like it.
Yeah, I know, that's why I picked a picture. I was like, where would I want to be right now?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, well, great. Well, I'm so glad we get to meet and face to face. And I gave us just a couple minutes before we go live, so that way we could get to chat just for a moment.
Oh,
But yeah, like the main thing is, for one, promote what you're doing by all means. I'm all about collaboration and getting people to talk about what they do, and to talk about automation in general, because a lot of people are scared of it, as I'm sure you're aware of. They're scared to make that jump. They're always trying to do it themselves. So I figured we would talk about, like, when you're starting your business and making that investment for any part of your business, right? Whether it's a coach, whether it's automation, anything of the sort,
yeah,
and how it can create problems,
right.
and then how much success can come when you finally make that jump too.
Exactly.
So I figured we'll get into some of that, and we'll talk about your business, and we'll talk about mine too, but I'm not always about mine. I just like to talk.
Yeah, I've been catching up on some videos and stuff like that. It's just I love the fact that you show up like on lives and stuff like that and provide so much value. So
Well,
thank you.
thank
I'm
you.
learning from you.
Good. That's what I was talking about. I'm like, I can't help it. I'm just a teacher by nature. And even if no one buys from me, I'm still gonna just keep teaching.
Yeah, well, I feel like in lives, for me at least, I noticed that it's about the long termness of it. Like people are just like in the shadows, always like lurking and watching what you do. And then when they're ready, it's just like you wake up one day, it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't expect that they were gonna do that, but thank you.
Yeah. You can have your silent supporters.
Yes, exactly. Those are like the best pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
So.
for sure. I've got a couple people that, they're like, well, I'm not going to do the program right now, but I know I'm going to do it in the future.
Well,
And I'm
those
like,
are nice. At least they're a maybe. Like
yeah,
some people are not even like telling you.
yeah. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's totally fine. Just keep watching.
Yes, exactly. Did you want like just for my sake, because I've done like I've interviewed in podcasts and I've also been interviewed in podcasts before. Do you usually have like you prompt the questions or like free flowing conversations, or you want me to chat? Like, how do you want to approach this?
Yeah. So just very free flowing. I like that natural, just kind of chit and chat, or the banter back and forth.
Yeah,
I feel like it's more natural. It feels like people are popping in on a conversation.
right.
And then they get to like really see our personalities and really see how we talk and interact. And it's not this kind of staged thing, because really we want them to come work with us and see who we really are.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, like, if there's any specific questions you want me to answer, feel free to ask me, of
Okay.
course.
Yeah. And likewise, if you want to use me for an example, like I, I am horrible at automation. I know how important it is. But that's actually something, within this next month, I'm definitely going to start needing to get help with myself even. So, so you can sell
Yeah,
me on it as well.
especially with the family, like expanding and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I need to make life easier on me. And yeah, and I'll talk about, I've got a client that I'm working with right now, and they're a very, very large like company with 3 companies underneath of them, and they have no automation. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like,
How are they doing it? Like, do they have a lot of people working
they
for them?
have a lot of people, but everyone is just in frantic mode all the time, and they're doing everything so manually. So like they are doing live informationals about their courses, and they do like agile, scrum, safe, project management certifications, these huge
Yeah.
certifications. And they're having these live informationals. They're having people go sign up on Eventbrite. Then they're emailing them individually the link to the Zoom meeting. And they're just manually not even really following up with people. Like, I'm
Wow.
like, how are you all even making it?
That's
So,
intense.
it's sometimes us as small business owners in this world, we know more than even some of the corporations do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've actually gotten my from the Scrum world, I've gotten my product owner certification and my Scrum master certification. So it's just one of those things that I know that they're not that big of an organization. Like
Yeah.
it seems like there's just this one guy that travels like from state to state.
Yeah.
And then he had like an assistant with him that does all his like meetings and stuff like that. So I can see how they make it seem like they're a big, like organization, but it seems, to your point, it's just like there are multiple different organizations that's just like, shoot, I don't have this figured out. Let me partner up with a different organization.
Yeah.
So that's how they have that sense of they're big. So
Yeah. And so it's like there's so many people out there. Like once you learn these skills
right.
too, like not only are you using it in your own business, you can go help other people.
Yeah, it's such an interesting world once you get to see the different niche and stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah. All right. So let me figure out how to get us live on Facebook.
Thank you for sending me the information. I was trying to figure out, I'm like, I was scrolling through our messages and trying to figure out if you sent me the list of questions and the Zooms and stuff like that. So I appreciate you like being right on top of it.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I've been doing a little mini like impromptu course with people, and I'm just like, I just constantly sending my Zooms links, and so it's like, this is my new norm. I need to automate better too, because my Calendly is not super efficient.
Mm. Do you have the paid Calendly?
I do, which is strange because I also do hypnotherapy. So I've got quite a few clients, they'll go book their consultation, and then they're like missing the link. And I first noticed this a few months ago because people were like not showing up. And they're like, and I was like, didn't you get your confirmation reminder? And they're like, no, I didn't get it. It must have went to my junk mail or something. And I was like, then why am I paying for this? Like, I
Yeah,
need to figure out something better.
yeah, because it's supposed to also have because mine, I don't, my my mail is such a mess right now. It Calendly automatically sends a Zoom too, right? Like if you have the paid one, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. So it always sends Zoom, like, so at least I can go to my calendar and copy and then paste it. So like, at least it books on my calendar so other people can't book on top of each other.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. I'm going to put expert in automation.
Oh, I feel so special.
Yeah. So we'll be on my timeline or on my feed, and then I'll share it out from there, and I'll put it on YouTube and all that stuff. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
All right. Okay. We are live. All right. So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today's conversation is about automation and standardization and how we can modernize our work life, how we can make life so much easier on ourselves, because who likes to do those repetitive tasks unless we're in avoidance, right? Like sometimes those are good and fun to do if we're in avoidance and we're trying to avoid doing all the things that we actually should be doing. But in all reality, to be more productive, if we can reduce the things that we're repetitively doing, if we can reduce the busy work, life is so much more beautiful. So I have my guest today, and I'll let her introduce herself. She has an amazing program where she teaches automation, and she has tons of wisdom. So let's welcome our guest today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. So not to scare you guys was the big A word with the automation and the F word with the funnels and all that stuff. But I try to make it fun for everyone in terms of the fact that, like my name is Dianne and I do have a computer science degree and all that shenanigans, but I love helping my people in terms of like setting up their systems. I help service providers, specifically women, because I feel like, like not everyone came into this online space to fight with tech. So that is what my zone of genius is. And that's what I help my clients to do. And right now for my academy, I help my clients turn their one-on-one services and create a signature offer, because I want them to be able to help more people and serve more people without having to sacrifice their time and have that employee mindset. So that is what I'm doing right now. And I also have an agency to help you build your funnel for you if you want someone else to take that overwhelm away from you. So that is a little bit of what I do and what I'm all about. So thank you again for having me.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, so definitely, breaking down some of that stigma behind automation. A lot of people feel like it's really scary, it's time consuming. What are some objections that you feel like people get when they're like trying to avoid the automation?
This is something that comes up a lot in the conversations I have in terms of like it's kind of like the two sides of the equation. It's either they're just starting out and they feel like, oh, I'm just going to either do it and Google it and try to do it myself, and then use free tools first and, like all of these different things. And then they box themselves in because they don't have this strategy, which is, I really think that either you ask me questions, like you don't need to work with me, just ask me questions or someone in your network, because you need to look at it holistically. Like, what do you want to do? Like, if you just look for a free tool to help you with your calendar, to a free tool to help you with, like setting up your Facebook group, but then now you have to look for another tool to do something else. Now you have to try to figure out how they talk. And you're always like in this search mode, in this like trying to make your business chasing that next thing, instead of like the other side, which is like they get caught up with what the next guru is trying to tell them, and they don't think about it holistically for them either. And now they're caught up with this like big tool that is too big for them. So my philosophy is like, try to figure out your business. Like, I look at it strategically first, of like, what are you trying to do? What transformation do you want for your clients? And then from there, have that just right, like the Goldilocks rule of like, what's the just right tool for you?
Yeah,
because that's the tool that will work.
That's such a great point. And that's where I help my clients. Like I push them towards automation. I am not the automation expert. You are. So what I tell them is like, that strategy is so important. Like, you have to have intention behind what you're doing. And I see a lot, I call them the freebie hunters, where they're chasing the trends. And chasing the trends is not the answer to solving your business problems. If you want to put them through a proper marketing funnel, to grab their attention, to give them value, to establish your know, like, and trust factor. Like, we know that we need to grab their attention, and we're trying to give out this freebie, but it's taking so much time to give them the freebie and collect their emails and then put their email in your email thing and do all of that. If it's super time consuming and you're doing it over and over, we need to automate it. So it's like, automation shouldn't be scary. Automation should be really helpful.
Yeah. And that's a good point too, in terms of like automation should be easy and it should be simple. Like, don't go from like no automation to super automation where you're spending your time too much on automation instead of like helping your people and like getting out there. It should just be like something that, like streamline the things that are time consuming to you, and then try to learn your business along the way in terms of like, there's certain things that you shouldn't automate, like conversations with your people and stuff like that. So those are like the more human pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. And the point you brought up about the freebie, the free funnels and the free pieces, again, time, right? Time is this big factor, because if you're in your business and you're spending all this time trying to learn it, and you're spending the time there trying this one, trying that one, trying this one, it would be so much easier to go to the expert and say, this is what I need. And by getting it set up quickly, by having it set up the correct way, you're saving so much time. And that's time that you could be actually creating more freebies, creating your actual product, nurturing your clients. So noticing like what you're trading your time for as well. A lot of times I think we forget that as business owners in the time money exchange.
Actually, it's actually twice that you're going to have to do it if you do it that way, because you're setting it up in the free tool. And then now you're going to do it again to set up correctly the second time. Instead of do it right the first time. Sure, it's going to be a little bit more painful because you're having to learn it, like the bigger tool, and also spending a little bit more money up front. But then once it's set up, it's like you can like run more freely. So that's the beauty of it, is like it's an investment for where you want to go. So that's the difference. Like, some people don't need it because they don't necessarily feel like they need to grow into that tool that they're looking at. But you just have to think about it where you want to go, and then decide for yourself if that's something that works for you.
Yeah. And I agree. And that investment's really important too. I feel like a lot of people start out their business online and they're like, I'm just going to do it all myself and I'm not going to spend any money. And the reality is when you start a business, you are going to have to make investments. Now, there is that choice of, are you making the time investment? Do you want to put in the 80 hours a week in the beginning? But most of us are actually trying to escape that by creating our own business. So it's like, what are you really sacrificing? And noticing that by coming online and creating a business online, the startup cost is so much smaller than if you needed to go get rent and furniture and paint the place and remodel the place and have this physical place to start having business. Your online business, you still need to have startup costs. And you can choose if you want to make your business startup last 2 years long and until you can actually start making like decent money, or you can do it fast and you can make those small investments up front, get yourself set up for success in probably a month or two in all reality, and then you're up and going and you're ready to make money.
Oh my gosh, I love that analogy that you just came out just now. So I might have to reuse that somewhere else if that's okay. In terms
go
of
for
like
it.
Like, okay, so like you just gave me this idea of like when you have like a physical business, right? Like some people that want like a free rent and you have this like free rent in like the dark alleyway somewhere that you have to paint yourself, and you have to like get people into the doorway yourself, and people are like, ew, why would I want to go to like that like dark alleyway? And like you're trying to get them in there instead of like in this like fancier mansion in New York City that you don't need. So you really need to be like where you need to be, and then maybe hire someone else to do the painting for you and all that like furniture, because that's not your expertise. You don't want to be doing that. You'd
Yeah.
rather, it's fun, like it can be fun for you, but it's also distracting rather than like focus on what you set yourself up for. So I love that analogy. That's so
Yeah,
perfect.
it is. And I do, because I've had a physical location before, and I was very lucky. Rarely ever happens, but I had the landlord, she let me have the first month free. So I had a first month to still, I had to go buy paint. I had to paint the place. I had to buy furniture. I had to then still figure out marketing. I still had to figure out how to get people in the door. And even with that first month free, that still cost me at least $1,000. Then I started having rent. And then you're having to figure out marketing and actually competing with your services, and everything starts to become more of a jostle. And when we're trying to be a solopreneur, when we're trying to do it all ourselves in the beginning, actually automation is so much cheaper than having an employee sit there and do it for you.
Yeah.
So it's a cheaper route. Now you pay for a contractor or a service provider to set it up for you, and generally that's a one-time fee. So again, that's so much cheaper. And I'm trying to help put this into perspective, because I think a lot of people see it as, oh my gosh, I'm spending money before I make money.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be a true business owner, instead of just having a hobby, and I've talked about this before too, like going from hobby to business owner are two different things.
Right, exactly. And you're not just like, okay, so at least for me, when you work with like an automation person, you don't just hire that person to just like plug and play for you, because you can do that yourself. So what you're really hiring someone like me or someone else is like working alongside of you, and then they also provide like, like the tools of like, okay, like here's the right way to set it up. And then like for me, I have like, do you have a free lead magnet? Okay, you don't have one, here's what you need to do next. Okay, you don't have a template, here's a template for you. So like actually having someone alongside of you who's already done it, and like walking you step by step, and then even providing you with additional resources alongside of you is like super helpful in getting you to the next level. It's a faster way to get there without having you like give up on your business, because it's just like throwing in the towel because it was too complicated. And then you're back to either like the free tool that is easier, but not going to grow with you, or just like not doing it at all. So those are the different ways. Actually, the other thing is like using the expensive tool, because they make it super easy with like the drag and drop and stuff like that. But again, it's just more expensive. So those are the different things.
Yeah. Well, it made me think of, at one point I hired an intern to work for me. And I was teaching at the college, and one of the students in my class needed an internship. And I was like, okay, come work for me. And I was giving them these list of things to do. And it ended up costing me more time and money trying to bring on someone to learn everything. And what ended up happening was I had to let them go. I had lost like 2 months worth of work because I had spent so many hours trying to coach them. And what I found was, what I really needed was just pay a little bit bigger price, have an expert do it, and not have to coach them. Instead, the expert is coaching and teaching you. So
Yeah.
you're getting even more added value out of it.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely like, you have to also resonate with that person in terms of like understanding what your business needs are. So like having an intern is okay once you have stuff up and running and you have your processes set up and stuff like that. So there's no one way to do a business in this space,
Right.
which is the fun and scary thing about it.
Well, and I think too, when you hire an expert that's already in it and they already have that experience, you don't have to explain business mentality to them. So you don't have to coach on that aspect. I think, once you're further in and you've actually have all your own business strategy figured out and all the systems are there, and you just need someone you can articulate very clearly what you need done. But in the beginning is where I'm really stressing, is that in the beginning, the business owner isn't always as clear as they should be, because you're still figuring it out. So by having someone come in and be able to question you a little bit and coach you a little bit, like, you're getting so much more value, and you're getting your experience, and you're getting clearer and clearer so that you can build your own confidence as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And you're so right. Like, personally, I've made my hiring mistakes as well when I was like new. But now, once you get your process set up, it's easy to hire new team members. Like, I'm hiring my second person right now as well, and growing my team, because like from the agency standpoint, I needed more technical help as well. So like having all of your documentation in place is a matter of like, you as the business owner need to figure it out first in regards to like what's working for you and what's not, because you can't just like I hear, like, when I first started, the reason why I had a bad hiring mistake is because people were saying like, oh, you need to hire in order to grow, but they didn't really say like what you need to hire necessarily.
Yes.
It's just like, oh, like, I don't like social media, let me hire that out. But because I didn't have my branding, I didn't have my offers figured out, I didn't have my funnels, my automation set up, I hired it out. And it's just like, okay, like, this person is not working out. And it wasn't that person's fault, it was my fault, because it's just like, I didn't have a business. So that was my mistake. And that's why it's just like, now I need to make sure that I know myself in terms of like what I want to do. I have my offers, I have the processes. And now my social media people are just like, okay, up and out it. And now I'm like collecting leads while I sleep. I collect money while I sleep. And it's a nice feeling.
Yes, definitely. And it's so beautiful, because painting that picture of like what life can look like once you actually figure out your business, once you have the strategy, and then once you have all of that automation in place, you don't have to be running a team of 20 to 30 people. You can have a smaller, more intimate team as well that is very intentional, and you're picking and you're choosing who you work with. And it's very lovely. Like, I just brought on a VA, and we're both pregnant at the same time. And
oh my goodness.
we're having these lovely little chats, and it's like, this is someone who I want to work with. And I get to choose who I want to work with. So it's really nice. And she has her expertise, and yes, I'm gonna have to pay a little bit more. And then I'm also inviting her to grow with me. So there's all these different dynamics and fun part of owning a business as well. And we were talking right before we came on live. One of my new clients is a corporate client, and they teach certifications for like PMP and agile and safe and things of that nature. But they've been very much in the old way of doing things. So it's all very manual, and they're struggling to grow, because when we're doing everything so manually, we only have so much time. We only have so much capacity to teach and be a manual funnel. So for them, they're capped off, and I'm coming in to help them with that strategy so that we can say, okay, this is the funnels that we will need. And then I'm going to be having someone help set up those funnels, because I also know I'm not the expert at setting those up. So also noticing like, where are your strengths and where are your weaknesses, and saying, I can spend more time on this, and then I can collaborate, which I did a live earlier today. Collaboration, networking, noticing, I can know a lot about automation, but I don't have to be the expert.
Right.
And to a lot of new clients of mine that are starting their businesses, I'm like, you don't have to do everything. Please don't do everything. Just do what you're really good at, and then have your network of people that you can refer out to, and you all can refer each other to each other. And it becomes, again, this beautiful dynamic.
Yeah. And going back to your analogy of like, your office, your physical office, because I'm really enjoying your virtual background there,
Thank
is
you.
like, you know, like your clients don't hire you potentially to be the painter of their office. You need to have a good painter to recommend to them. And setting up that collaboration, I can't talk anymore, is really the beautiful thing. That's what helped me, was like, this is, and getting more visibility, right? Like the people around you, it's not just about like referring people to each other. Like getting on a call with you like this is like fun. And it's also like getting more visibility for both of us, right? And that's what has helped my business as well, in terms of like, it's more the opening yourself up for opportunities, rather than like, oh my goodness, I can't do that because I'm too busy in my own space. Or it's just like, oh, I can't share my expertise because you have to pay me before I hop on a call with you and stuff like that. It's just like, it's a scarcity mindset versus this abundance of like, share what you have and other people will provide the same thing, if not more. It's that paying it forward.
Yes. And that's one thing, you know, we met online and it became a playful chat. And I was just like, oh my gosh, there's another real person that's not in scarcity mindset. Like we did not instantly start going, this is what I offer and this is what I offer. And we weren't trying to sell each other. We were really trying to connect. And those are the people that I want to work with. Those are the people that like, I want to be in a world where we're not in scarcity. And that's one of my missions. I'm like, abundant mindset, like we can all help each other.
Yeah.
So.
And to be honest, like for me, I feel like the online space is so busy and it's so fast that my goal in 2022 is to slow down and be more discerning in regards like which ones I say yes to and which ones I say, maybe I'll think about it, because everyone's going to want your time, right? And you have to know which opportunities are going to help you stay focused on your mission, and then which ones are maybe going to just be distracting you. So for sure, like I said yes to you right away, because I know like you're doing amazing things, and like you're not necessarily just your values, but your personality. Like I love like all the things that you're doing. So yes, the people you meet, you have to know that kind of stuff too.
Yes. And likewise, I love seeing in your stories. So if you all are not following her, like follows just so you can see her stories, because you've got all these fun backgrounds and like I'm always like seeing you so smiling, and it's refreshing. So thank you so for much. That too.
Yeah, and we were talking about earlier before we went live. So I have like, I'm not always this like quirky, but I am pretty quirky, but like I just launched my academy. And so for my students, I wanted to like have this balloon. It's big, it's like literally like a lot bigger than my face for this balloon. So it's just like trying to have that for my students. It's like, welcome to the academy. It was kind of like, I'm sure they're just like, what did we sign up for?
Yeah. So tell us about your academy. So what all are you doing in there?
So I launched it. So right now it's the first beta, and I'm super excited. I wanted to have 8 people in there, and we had the 8 people, and they're all like different parts of the world, and they're different expertise. And I'm super excited about these 8 women and turning their geniuses into like helping more people. So what it is I have a fast launch formula, which is an acronym, because in my IT background, everything has to be acronym.
Yes.
So FAST stands for flow and foundation, aligned offer, simple systems, and timeless marketing, and then launch. So that's like in our time together, that's what we're going to be covering. And I'm going to walk them through step by step and holding their hand along the way. I'm also providing them a pre-built funnel, because I don't want them to like try to figure out all that tech stuff and those kinds of stuff. So that is what we're doing right now. And everyone's so pumped up, excited, and also nervous that it's just like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was this much stuff in here. So I'm holding their hands, and they have Voxer access to me in case like there's anything that they have questions on. So that is what's going on in there right now. And then I'll reopen it back up sometime in the spring. So if there's anyone interested, either hit me up or we'll figure it out. My waitlist on my website, I think, is open right now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and after we do the live, we'll drop some links into here. So be sure to come back and check out those links as well, so that you all can join our groups and
yes,
follow up with us. Awesome. And yeah, like we're real people. That's one of the big points of today is that we're real people and we're really passionate about what we do. We're really excited to help other businesses grow, because aside from having a business, like it is so much joy to see these people have their successes, the little wins and the big wins, and to just create this community of people that are all in business together. You know, over the past 2 years, like we've lost out on a lot of community and connection. And I think there's been some awkward shifts in how do we have authentic relationships with people online, aside from just commenting on videos and things like that. And so like we really can, like what we're doing today, right? We can get on, we can have conversations. I love, like right now I've got a Monday night group where we're jumping on Zoom live and I'm teaching, and we can ask questions and we can talk about our fears that are showing up in business and things of that nature. So making sure that you are joining some kind of community is really important, not only for our business, but also for our mental health as well. But yeah,
I don't think we talk enough about mental health, especially as entrepreneurs in the online space, which is like twofer on there. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, for sure. And I constantly say that. I'm like, progress, not perfection. Perfection does not exist. And I'm like, and fear shows up a lot for a lot of us. And that fear will keep us in fight, flight, or freeze. And the most of us is freeze, where we just do nothing. So I really urge, you know, as we're closing out today, like if you feel like you're stuck in your business, where you've been at a standstill point for a really long time, or you just are scared to make that next up level jump, to reach out to one of us and really discuss that, and we'll definitely point you in the right direction. You know, even if it's not one of us, maybe it's someone else, like we will point you in the right direction, or give you some words of wisdom, or I'm sure we both have some webinars and freebies that we can even send you if you need that, to build that confidence up as well. So I'm Izzy Nalley, and I'm a business strategist. So I help people with getting over the fears. They're building out their strategy. So we create that business blueprint, which is more the modern business plan, so that you know where you're going and you know why you're going there as well. So thank you all for joining us today. And Dianne, what is the name of your program? You said the Fast Launch.
Yes. So my business name is Passion Breakthrough. So my website is passionbreakthrough.com. And my academy name is Fast Launch Academy. So that is the name of it.
Okay. Fast Launch Academy. That one's easy, right?
Yeah.
And I
do know I need to like consolidate, because then my Facebook group name is different. And I'm like trying to like figure out like, because I started, not to get off track here, but like I started out Passion Breakthrough to want to help everyone. So that is what started, and that's what's going to stick.
Yeah. Well, and we should be passionate about what we're doing.
Exactly.
And yeah, and I like the acronyms too. So mine's MMBB, Million Maker Business Blueprint, because I'm also in the tech world a lot with project management and creating strategy and all of that. So it's so fun. And I love that we kind of both have the same color on
I noticed
today.
that too. I was going to bring that up. So, we think alike.
We do. I love it. So we'll drop the links in here after we jump off, which we'll be jumping off shortly, so that you can join our group, send us a chat, let us know how we can support you, and please let us know like what you took away from this video, what you found useful, if anything resonated with you as well. And we hope to see you soon. We're going to be trying to do much more lives. So both of us have lots of lives happening. So be sure to check those out and join in on all the fun. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. And I will chat with you soon, lady.
Yes, bye.
All right, bye.